Hey everyone, Bob the BA here, and today in this video we are going to sing a song that's going to connect us to a very interesting experience I had, which was how the doctor told me I had cancer. I know you're thinking, ooh, that's exciting. Well, it's kind of an unusual delivery method that no one in business analysis should ever use. So I think the easiest thing we're going to do is we're going to do the song, and that will relate to the story to make a point, and then I'm going to relate it back to the work that we all do each and every day. I'm not going to give you the name of the song. I think 99% of you know this song already. It's an oldie, it's a classic, it's a goodie. So let's just get into it. A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had my chance, I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step, and I can't remember if I cried when I read about his widowed bride. But something touched me deep inside the day the music died. And we were singing bye bye Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing. And I'm not going to sing the next part, although I'm pretty sure everyone filled in the blank. But it's a lyric I have a hard time singing because it relates to how I feel and it relates to my fear. So we need to talk about the change curve. All right. And a change curve, if we look at Kubler-Ross and the grieving cycle, there are things in that are not the same as they used to be. So you had your original, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. But three new things have been added over the years. The first one being shock. And how we deal with a change curve invariably will impact the decisions we make every day. And part of what I'm trying to get across to everyone is how to make positive decisions in an uncertain world. In order to do that, you need to be able to move through this change curve quickly, or at least understand how it's impacting you. And most people can't do that. They get stuck and they freeze. And for some of them, they don't move for months. I am fortunate that I know the science and I could recognize it. It doesn't mean the impact is less in the moment. So for example, let's talk about how the doctor told me I had cancer. So, I knew something was up because I had been through multiple tests and I'm waiting around in a waiting room. And at some point, a nurse came in and said, okay, we're going to bring you into the consult room. And I'm like, why do I need to go into a consult room? If I'm having an emergency appendectomy, let's go, right? And that wasn't happening. And I ended up being in this consult room for 90 minutes. And she came in twice saying, I'm so sorry, the doctor will call soon. He's backed up with these emergencies. Obviously, I am no longer an emergency. And her eyes said something very different than her mouth. Like she was ready to cry at any second. And I felt very bad for her because I knew she didn't want to have to be that person. And I knew something's coming. Something's coming if you can wait. Little West Side Story. Except in that one, it's good. And this was not good. And so finally the phone rings and it says, is this Bob? And I said, yes. Are you ready for it? Bad news. Cancer. I kid you not. That's literally the first words that come out after that. Bad news, cancer. There are a lot of ways to deliver messaging. That is not the way to do that. And even in my first video, where we're talking about, hey, I'm delivering bad news. That's not so hot either, but it's a lot better than what I went through. I literally shut down. I blacked out. Of course, I'm crying uncontrollably because I just don't even know what to think. And for 5 minutes, I don't hear a word he said, not a word. Now, my first response is, you need to go to soft skills school. You can diagnose everything you want, but he was an ER doctor. He wasn't a specialist. But that shouldn't change the fact that you need a better delivery. Now, I am slightly forgiving because he was really hot. So I'm sure he gets away with a lot. But still, there needs to be a way of, dealing with that. And I immediately recognized that I'm in shock. I don't believe what I'm hearing, but I need to ask him questions really quick. And I got my act together because I knew I hit the first wall in the change curve. And one of the new phases in the Kubler-Ross change curve, grieving cycle, is shock. It's the first thing when you receive some kind of news. The problem with shock is sometimes people will shut down to the point where they are incapacitated. They're non-functional. They're not able to communicate. And I certainly had that moment, but I have seen friends and colleagues go through this. I had one friend who was in shock for months, and it almost ruined her life. And it was very hard for her to, even bring herself out of it, just walking around in a daze. It wasn't denial. It wasn't anything. It was still just shock. Denial came later, and the feistiness came with denial. So what we need to learn from this is every time you deliver a message, whether it's your requirements suck, which is not how you say that, or what were you thinking, which is not how you say that. You see where I'm going with this? We have to think about the message we deliver. Now, in the back of our heads, we really are saying, oh my God, I'm so tired of fixing stupid, because we can't fix stupid. Or I wish there was a better way of doing that. We got to remember there's human beings on the other side of it. So ease into it. Find a better way of getting to the message. And maybe we'll have a better chance at keeping people out of shock. Because I guarantee you, although Kubler-Ross was set up to talk about the grieving cycle, this applies to every aspect of change management. And it's actually one of the models that I use in conjunction with the ProSci method ADKAR, because it manages different aspects of change management. So I'm constantly trying to be aware of how to deliver that message, because how I deliver the message can send people into one of those phases. They could go into shock, they could go into denial, they can start bargaining right off the bat, and numerous other things. So we need to think about how we deliver the message, and if we deliver it effectively, then maybe at some point we'll be okay to get to the point where it's acceptable to say, you know what, I understand what I'm dealing with now. The day the music died and we were singing bye bye Miss American Pie, drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old people, so let's bring that up to 2020, we're drinking whiskey and rye, singing this'll be the day that I die, but not today.